What, no music today?
I don't know. Maybe Latasha's not on yet. She's the one that's in charge usually of the music. I don't know what I'm doing. No, actually, I do know how to do it. Let's see. Let's see if I can figure it out by the time we start in 4 minutes.
DJ. Come on, DJ. Get it on. DJ LT in the house.
Right? Actually, no, I can't because I don't think I'm on here as a co-host. Wait, let me see. Am I? No, I'm not. So I cannot, I don't think I can add music.
We'll just sit here in silence then, I guess.
Yeah. I can look at your picture of your mask.
My COVID now. I know I gotta change that out.
That's funny. It's still applicable. Don, how are you? Don's doing probably work and stuff. I was gonna try to attend a meeting that was happening today, but one of our other agents is there. So I was like, okay, good. I missed too many of the Mission Possible calls. I thought, this is not good. So I probably need to be here.
I gotta go from one to our staff meeting, then to RAM, which I hope is online.
Oh, do you have, are you taking core or whatever that Michelle's taking today?
No, it's like a budget and finance meeting or something. Yeah.
More fun stuff then.
Yeah, more fun stuff. And then I got to go into the executive, trying to find the executive for RAM. And then we got our brokers meeting at 1:30, and we got a full day today.
Wow, yeah. You do. Yeah, I have overlapping. Well, actually, now I don't have to take my cat to the vet, which is good. So I thought I was going to have to get out of our executive team meeting fast, but I don't. So
always
good.
The cat always.
The cat always takes priority. I'm sorry. I love you all, but if like that's the one thing.
Too, she's got those two cats she's had forever.
Yeah.
The one's like 18, right? So it's like, that's gonna be a bad day.
Baby. Oh God, yeah. It's the worst, and it's the most painful thing to go through. And then you think, can I even do this again? Should I ever get another cat in the rest of my life? And then you do. It's just.
She brought that cat from Niagara Falls to Vegas,
to
Hawaii. That cat's been everywhere.
Wow, it's resilient. 18 is.
He still gets around pretty good too.
I
mean, but I think one day it's just going to be done pretty soon too. I think he's getting pretty old. Anyway,
for oatmeal. Good morning.
Come on.
Good morning, Latasha.
MC 1002. What's up, MC?
Hey.
DJ Baldwin. Good morning.
I'll get some music going just really quickly.
Okay. That's cool. We were talking about cats. It always works too.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
To Pretty in Pink or whatever it is, not the Pretty in Pink, the Breakfast Club. Anybody else?
Breakfast Club, yeah.
That sounds pretty good still too,
Yeah. Was that recent? I don't know.
A couple of octaves.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm happy to be back with you. I was at a meeting last week, Wednesday. I think it was last week that I wasn't here. I know I missed like 2 of these in the last probably 5 weeks or so. So I am back in action with you today. And I know Michelle has a couple things to share. Well, people are slow getting on today, huh? Is this what happens when I miss a week? We only have 11 people. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to wait a minute for Michelle to jump on because I want to make sure people are here to hear the stuff she has to share. I have a quote that I heard. There's a lot of good quotes out there these days. I mean, just in general, but probably our antenna is up for them more now and more people are sharing great stuff. So I think it was Gary. I don't remember who said this. I want to say it was Gary Keller. And he had a couple of good quotes, and one of them I shared on our Facebook page. But one of the things I think he or somebody else cool said was, these may be unprecedented times. However, we are still on a progressive trajectory. remember, it's like a muscle. It needs to be broken down to come back stronger. So I liked that because, again, it's this idea of whatever's happening, that may be a challenge, just like a muscle, right? Sometimes you got to break things down and then they build up stronger, more resilient. And then the other thing that I shared was a quote that he said, and this is something I've read a couple of times and I really like, which is the idea that innovation, great innovation comes from challenges and difficult times. And I'm not saying it's not challenging for everybody, but when you look at 37% of the people in the US aren't making mortgage payments, you look at, on a national scale for us, there are definitely some challenges out there. So when you think about great inventions, innovation, the way that people work together, the things that we're doing, even just look on a small scale in our business, that comes from, having to be creative and reinvent and figure things out. So people can get complacent, people can get lazy, and this type of environment forces you to really think, right? Think and be willing to take small to large risks. And then, some you may fail at and go, okay, that's not going to work. Let me try something else. And then you're going to find things that work. So does anybody have an example of something that they've done, changed how they work, or something in their life, in the last, it's been how many months now? April, May, June, July. So we're really rolling into month 5 here of this kind of transition. So I'd love to hear if any of you have done something that has, been a change for you or transition for you, and you realized, okay, this is now what I'm doing, or this is something that worked for me, or just any kind of takeaways, reflecting from this. Who's got something? I'm counting on those of you who are here right now while everybody else is signing on, because nobody else heard the question. What have you done differently? What have you changed in your life or your business, or what has been a different pattern?
Zooming,
more Zooms.
yeah. We're never gonna not Zoom again. We're never going back to Zoom.
We will never not Zoom again. Get used to it, or something like this. Yeah, that's been different. That's been an adjustment. And imagine, would we have been able to do what we're doing or make as much progress as we've made without it as a tool? It would have been very challenging to stay connected and to know what's going on and to move forward without the ability to have Zoom calls.
Yeah, and actually even managing the Zoom calls, like at the beginning, it was like Zoom craziness, right? It was like 7 Zoom meetings a day, and it's just got so out of hand to where I think now it's kind of, you manage it, you're like, I'm not really going to get on that one.
We figure out what's necessary. Right. We're prioritizing the Zoom calls now. At first it was like, I have to be on all of them. What is it? People are saying whatever, zoomed out, right? These are like new words now, and they zoomed out, Zoomophobia.
The Zoom hangover.
Has anybody else, so those of you who just came on, the question was, what have you done over the last 5 months differently in your business or your life that you wouldn't have probably done if it wasn't for what we've been going through in the last 5 months, that may be something that's a good skill or something that's a good pattern in your life that you're now doing as a result of that? That's good.
I think we have to talk about the fact that I don't know that I ever thought I could spend so little on eating out or driving in my entire life. So, the financial conversation, this picture's totally changed of what we spend money on and what we don't. So it's been interesting insight.
It totally, I agree. That's a really good one, because you're used to a certain lifestyle and pattern, and one step was to look at the finances and see where you can cut expenses, and the other was in a way that, yeah, being forced to, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, you know, now I'm not going out as much, and I may be initially buying more things on Amazon. Not that I'm admitting that in any way. That might have been what I did initially. And then it was figuring out and prioritizing that too, right? It's like, okay, wait a minute. My husband was like, all the boxes. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous for a little while. And then it was like, okay, what do I really need? Like, let's pattern this out. And I did actually start, that was one thing for me, start regularly ordering certain like supplies or stuff that I would be getting at the grocery store, you know, via Zoom, and they're getting delivered. I mean, via Zoom, wouldn't that be cool? Via Amazon. So that's been one for me. And that's been kind of cool, actually, because I am cutting back on time and going to pick up those things once a month that I used to pick up. And in some cases, I'm spending less money. So love that. Okay, so Michelle is on, and Michelle, can you talk about what we were discussing yesterday or the day before regarding short-term rentals? I just want people to know what the change is in terms of being able to, because we talked to a lot of people that want to come here and quarantine. So Michelle, take it away.
Okay, so Ram sent out a notice yesterday, which I resent out to our property managers, but you should look at the last paragraph. What it says about short-term rentals is that a rental unit can only be used once in a 6-month period for quarantine use. And you say to yourself, well, how are they really going to know? They're tracking it at the airport. So if you have an intended resident who's coming to Hawaii, at the airport, they have to say where they're going. They're going to call and verify that reservation or that destination. And now they're putting it in a database. So if they say, I'm going to be at 123 Main Street and I'm going to quarantine there for 14 days, you can't have another guest come in 2 weeks and say, I'm an intended resident and I'm going to quarantine in the short-term rental unit for 14 days. They will only allow one person per 6-month period to quarantine in a specific unit. So that's a huge change when they do reopen short-term rentals, and they're tracking it, and it's finable. So there's some specific language in there that the broker and the property managers have to keep records and track this. And if the county comes or calls you, you have a certain timeline to produce those records. And if you don't produce them, you're subject to penalties and violations to the DCCA. So we want to make sure that our property managers are doing the right thing and that you're advising your clients, can they stay in a short-term rental? Yes. You have to verify with the property manager that that specific unit has not been used in the last 6 months, including by a paid renter, because if your owner now wants to come quarantine in that unit and they've rented it out for quarantine in the last 6 months, the owner will not be able to use it. So it's really, really a huge change as they start to look at this lockdown and taking steps backwards. There's more discussion. I talked to this last week. More discussion this week about taking steps back. Right now, real estate is still deemed an essential business. This last proclamation did not have an impact or effect on our ability to do business or hold open houses. The big change it did have is that you are limited to gatherings of 10 people inside or outside, and you must still use social distancing and masks. And I just read something yesterday that said now they're even recommending gloves because the example study they did was with handling of money. Someone handled money and washed their hands and they weren't able to eliminate the virus through money transfer. So now they were saying, you know, if you're going to use cash, you should wear gloves. Oh, well, I use cash all the time. I'm a cash person. So that was kind of eye-opening for me. Or go to contactless payment. You know, I'm an old dog. I'm going to have to change my ways in many areas. So that is my update for you, COVID-based items. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question because I read that it only applied to social gathering, not business.
Yeah, so we're gonna, yes, yeah,
That's
let's talk
true.
about that, Michelle. So we looked into that regarding
Yeah,
our
it's-
event, our upcoming event. We'll talk about that. Go ahead,
And
Michelle,
so
you can.
you have to, it's true, businesses continue to operate under the current rules, which are not subject to the 10-person limitation for a gathering. But you have to break those groups into groups of 10. So let's say we had a business meeting today with 50 people. We need to break those 50 people into 5 groups of 10. It cannot be one large group of 50.
Well,
And
we should
Yeah,
also
yeah.
we should also be taking names down too, right? So we can contact trace
Absolutely,
it
you
out.
have to log attendees and be able to do contact tracing, no different than an open house or any other situation. Absolutely.
Yes, so we have the upcoming event. So one of the reasons we looked into that was because of the upcoming event on the west side that we have with the Crescent Homes, where we have the catering event. That's August 6th, which you guys should have received a flyer for. That event we can do. So we are able, because the main area where the catering is going to be is outside, we can have people there. You know, and we have to follow, it has to be supervised. We have to follow social distancing rules, but for the tour of the home, it's going to have to be in groups of 10, same thing, social distancing, masks. Now, of course, people may not want to go. I mean, it's really anybody's call if they want to. We will follow protocol, but we did, you know, I had Michelle actually called the office to check because
We
the mayor's
talked with
office.
the managing director, Sandy Boz, at the mayor's office,
Yeah.
and got a written response clarifying the specifics so that we're very sure we're in step with the proclamations and not intentionally violating anything. I saw that someone had a question here, Lisa,
Yep.
about open houses. I see agents holding open house. Has the status changed? No. If you look at the RAM announcement from yesterday, they specifically reiterated open houses are by appointment only. And you must have appointments. You must track who's coming in, even if it's one person. You must track anyone going through a property. So I recommend our agents just have a property log. So, you know, on Monday I did a showing at 3 o'clock. On Wednesday I did a showing at 10. On Thursday I had an open house. I had 5 people come through. So you have a log by property of who's coming and going, and that will make it easier for you to track that information.
Yeah, so the answer is yes, you can do them. You just put by appointment or to text me. We talked about the verbiage on the sign where they have to actually send you a text or call you and say, I'd like to see the property. And you go, great, okay, come in. We have an appointment in 5 minutes or whatever it is. Go ahead, Keely.
Going back a little bit, a little bit clarification on those vacation rentals. So the rule has changed now that the vacation rentals are only good per 6 months.
No, they can vacation rent. This is specific to people subject to quarantine.
Which would be anybody coming in, right?
Well, from the mainland, yes.
So wait, are you saying if they have somebody, a guest in there? So what if they have a guest in there that's an on-island person tomorrow?
That's fine.
And then,
not subject to quarantine.
But then I'm saying, but then they want to have somebody from the mainland in there the next week. That's okay. And then they can have another guest in there the following when that person leaves, the person.
The rule change applies to people subject to quarantine, which right now is only a mainland quarantine. However,
okay, so because you had said the owner, but that was assuming the owner was also coming from the mainland.
Also coming from the
Got
mainland.
it. Okay.
Yeah. What we have some preliminary concerns about is the mayor's already requested a week ago that the inter-island quarantine of 14 days be reinstated.
He requested it. It hasn't been done yet, right?
It's right. It hasn't been granted yet. It's requested in writing a week ago already, and they're pushing for it. If that goes into place, then your inter-island guests will be covered under short-term vacation rental stays as a 14-day quarantine requirement. So now they stayed there, that would be your one person for 6 months. It's anyone subject to quarantine. And it came
currently that's not the case though. Like Anne Marie asked a question about that. So Anne Marie, currently that's not the case. If they reinstate the quarantine for inter-island, it will be.
Right. And do I know the 10-person limit will affect summer camps and sports? Sports have different guidelines. I am only trying to be up to date and knowledgeable about real estate related. So you'll have to check the guidelines on other issues.
Yeah.
Come on, Michelle. What
check
about
those
flag football and ultimate frisbee? Come on. I'm just kidding.
Those guidelines, that's exactly true, because our canoe clubs are still able to operate.
Yeah.
Under
There's separate
the old
guidelines.
rules. Yeah, so I think they're really trying to get rid of those social, like the drum circles and stuff like that through this. But I'm a little concerned of shutting our state down again with Maui having 0 cases yesterday. I mean, it seems a little bit over.
Well, one day,
So-
we did have cases the prior days.
Yeah,
so
but we had 4, we had 2, I mean.
I think
we
we had
had
9
Okay.
at the height. So
Okay, we're gonna
Anyway.
move on from that. So Crystal, going back to Crystal making a comment about things that have changed, or she changed during everything that's been going on. Had a chance to get KW training more easily and more involvement with everyone in our office, which is awesome, Crystal, because Crystal's on Kauai. So yeah, you were kind of on your own island. And so it's been really nice to have you more involved, and everybody on the Big Island. I mean, just in general, I think it's great. It seems to be the way state and county prefers. Oh, Nancy's saying if the guest in quarantine is in a hotel, is that better? It seems to be the way the state and county prefers. Yeah, they are pushing for that. And I don't know if you heard the whole history of all of that as far as the short-term rentals, but originally that's what their plan was, is that they were only going to allow people to quarantine in hotels. And the short-term rental owners pushed back on that because, of property ownership rights. I mean, they were like, what is that about? Like, why is the hotel more important? And, getting them economically in a better position than us first. So that was part of why this is now allowable. But yeah, probably state, county, definitely HTA and the Hotel Association supports that. So, I mean, it's really up to the person that's coming in. And then the other big thing that came up was, can people quarantine in their own, like if they're moving here where they're going to be living? Because
Yes.
that was a big question that came up as well.
yes, they can.
Yeah. So if they sign a 6-month lease, right, if they're signing that lease and not with the purpose of breaking it, right, we have to make sure we're not involved in anybody saying, well, I'm going to sign it, but then I'm going to go move somewhere else like that. We're not like, hey, that's not our thing. This is what we know that you need to do. So just go get some
The
advice.
state is tracking that, and that's part of this database that they're currently compiling is if someone comes in and says I have a lease, and then they find out in 30 days another person's coming in saying I have a 6-month lease on the same, they're realizing the tricks, and so they're trying to eliminate those loopholes and track that.
So just a
Marion.
question. Thanks. I have a buyer. He just closed today. Nice.
Yay, congratulations. That's
Sight
awesome.
unseen, coming in Friday to do his 14 days in his new condo. Does he need to provide any proof that he's now the owner of this new condo? He doesn't have a lease.
I would bring his closing statement with him
Okay, I will advise him to do that.
because they're going to want to call and verify where he's going. So maybe your name and number as the realtor who handled the purchase and his closing statement.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, I think at this point, it's kind of the Wild West, right? Like they don't even know what they're doing. So whatever, just know that, be prepared. I mean, who knows whether, and the verification, the enforcement of everything. I mean, they don't even, they're figuring it out as they go along. So
I got to jump off. So
Okay,
have an awesome
thank you.
morning, everyone.
thank you, Michelle.
Bye.
Okay, so the other things that I wanted to cover today, I wanted to make sure you guys saw the email from Hawaii Realtors, HAR, that came out 2 days ago, and it was regarding the forum on new state rent relief, the new state rent relief program. And this is the program managed by Catholic Charities Hawaii, and they are going to have it basically provides funds for tenants. It says it provides funds for struggling tenants, and they are going to talk about their assistance program. And basically, obviously for property managers, it's critical to be involved in this. I think it's good for realtors in general to be aware that these things exist, because these questions come to us, and you should probably know if there is something available for tenant relief. I had mentioned on a previous call that the Maui Economic Opportunity, Keone, what's the office, the branch office of that's in the Maui Mall called? It's the MEO.
The business center.
The business center. Yeah, I forgot if there's something else that it's referred to. But anyway, they have a rent program and they have funding. And I think they had run out and then they got more funding. So if you know people that are struggling tenants, maybe they lost their job, they could be your client living somewhere that then now is furloughed or lost their job. So maybe they can't qualify to buy and they're struggling with their rent. You can send them to Maui Economic Opportunity, that office. And then you can also mention there's this program to contact Catholic Charities Hawaii. So they're going to have basically a webinar on this. Oh, it's today at 3 o'clock. If you go to, let me see where you can register if you're interested in checking it out. CCH Rental Assistance Forum. Well, okay, so the email came to you. It doesn't really have it's like a Zoom web link, but the email came to your inbox 2 days ago, August 3rd, 4:50 p.m. And it was from Hawaii Realtors, and it's about this forum that's happening today at 3 o'clock. So, or you can maybe Google Catholic Charities Hawaii and go to their website and check it out. So I want to make sure you knew about that. Also a reminder that we have, so the events that we have coming up, and we haven't been doing, this is really kind of the first in-person event. So again, it's up to you whether you want to go or not. We did cancel unfortunately, we canceled the chocolate tasting West Side team meeting. We're going to do it via Zoom for the West Siders, just so you know. We're not doing the Kuia thing and the lunch there. We'll postpone that. But we are doing the Crescent Homes program event, which is on the 6th, which is tomorrow. Oh my gosh, that's tomorrow from 4:30 to, this says 7:30, it's really 4:30 to 7 p.m. And that is at, here, let me just share this with you so you can see the flyer. I want to make sure you guys got that in case you want to go. Okay, let me just make this bigger. So this is, did you guys see this flyer come through? It's to check out a listing that we have, Dean's listing in Lani Keha, and then the Calvin, the contractor who built this home, he is going to be on hand, and we're going to be talking about this referral program that we're going to be doing with Crescent Homes. Which you can choose or not choose to participate in, but it is an opportunity for you guys, and you can meet him and hear about it. You can see the property. So we'll be there for sunset, 4:30 to 7, and there'll be food. And so we're going to be again outside so that we can maintain social distancing with the group of people that are going to be there and where the food is. And then we'll take smaller groups into the property. Okay, so check that out. And then the other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is, if you have not received the email, there was an email that I saw through MAPS, which is the coaching program through Keller Williams. And they have a couple of programs coming up that I wanted to highlight, which you can either participate in through them, or I'm going to share with you a couple of things that we're doing. So they have one of their group coaching sessions coming up is short sales and foreclosures. And, I was listening to, I don't know if it was a podcast, but they were talking about, what we're seeing right now in a lot of areas in terms of the housing market. I know we've been talking a lot about that things are, inventory is low, and we're seeing that across the country, and demand is high. So we do have multiple offer situations. Pricing does remain high. And yet we also have 37% of the country not making mortgage payments. And if we've learned anything from the last market shift, you know, eventually that stuff's going to come through the pipeline. I mean, or you're going to help people sell their properties in distress. So what I really want you guys to do is be prepared to really help people. You know, those of you who went and did short sales or distressed properties in the last market cycle, or, you know, properties that had defaults or were in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, or did deed in lieu after. I mean, like, there's a lot of things coming up, and I'm reluctant to call it an opportunity, because the most important thing is that it is an opportunity. I mean, yes, you will by default make money, but really it's because you're helping people. And this is where we can really show what we do and how we help people. So I encourage you to either participate in like the MAPS coaching program, the group coaching program on short sales and foreclosures. Go to your KW Connect. We'll probably do an in-house class on one too, but there is material in KW Connect for learning about distressed property. There's a certification program that I think is through NAR. Isn't that through NAR, the short sale foreclosure specialist, what is that? SFR, whatever the acronym is. I don't know, Keone, if you know, that's through HAR, but you can go through the certification program. So again, I encourage you to do that, and just start to really beef up on that information to be prepared. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of people that are buying that, you know, are fine, and you're going to have people that are listing their property that may not be in distress. However, you know, I'd be willing to bet, and this was what they were talking about in the podcast, that we're going to see a pretty rapid shift at some point from low inventory to excess inventory. Now, we may not see it as much in Hawaii because of just the number of properties that we have, but we'll see it relative percentage-wise probably to the rest of the country. And you've probably been hearing, they don't really have the tracking numbers yet. It was a question that I think we asked on one of the calls, I think in the general membership meeting, but tracking the exodus of people from the islands, you know, who really just have to leave and move. So that is also happening, which is going to affect us as well. The other thing I want you guys to really focus on, of course, as I talk about every single call, is listings. And so there is another program coming up through MAPS, through KW, which is called Secrets to Listing Domination. Lance Loken is one of the guests that's on that. And he, if you don't know who he is, he was the #1 team in Keller Williams. Last year, I think they closed 700 million in sales, that team, and something like 2,500 homes. So he kind of knows what he's doing. He's a good person to learn from. And then the other thing is, we are starting a program. Colette is going to launch, and we're going to have guest instructors, and it's Win with Sellers. So it is a program that KW has designed to work with sellers, get more listings, and that's going to be coming up. Is Cheryl on? I want to see if she had the schedule yet. I believe it starts mid-August, within the next 10 days or so. So look out for that. And it's going to be a weekly, just like we did the Shift series. This is going to be our new one. It's going to be Win with Sellers, all about listings. So that's one we're really going to be pushing you guys to attend, pushing, you know, nudging for your best benefit and interest. We will carefully push you, you know, like off a cliff to go do it. No, I'm just kidding. And then some of you are in Bold again. I know some people are taking Bold again, and we did get our people in the program at the discounted price. Who on this call is in Bold? I guess maybe you would be there now if you were. I think it overlaps with today.
I
So
think
maybe
they're
that's
all
why
in Bold.
maybe that's why there's less people. So we do have a good group taking Bold. People that couldn't take it last time, some people are taking it again. So I'm super excited about that. By the way, how many of you that did take Bold have had results come from that session yet? Meaning like you connected with a new buyer or seller, or that you hadn't been in contact with from Bold, or you, okay, Joyce, Nancy, I see you raising your hand. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Good. Anybody in the pipeline currently or closed from that yet? I think I signed a reimbursement check like recently for 2 people for Bold. Have you guys closed on any of those yet?
Mhm.
Yeah, you did. Awesome, Nancy and Joyce. Good. Okay. So that's wonderful. That's great, because we didn't really do the best job at tracking it this time like we did last time, because it was done online, and we were a little behind on that. Okay. And then the two last things that I have is, one, I wanted to make sure you saw my email. I know I did get responses from a lot of you, so thank you for that, on the CE reimbursement. So what we're going to be doing is the first closing that you have in 2021, we will be reimbursing you $200, which is essentially the cost of 20 CE credits that you would have paid. So yeah, I mean, obviously if you're capped and there's no company dollar, then we might have to wait till the closing that you have company dollar. But for the most part, everybody should be in January, I think, okay, or February when you have your closing. And then Cheryl's raising. Cheryl, did you mean to raise your hand? Okay, yeah. Do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. We've also negotiated with the CE shop for a special 40% discount on CEs.
Oh, cool.
It'll be in the week at a glance. It'll be effective on Monday going forward for 1 week only. That's 40% off on CE classes.
Cool. So they can save 40%, which really means we're saving 40%. No, actually, we're still going to hey, you can make money on this because we're still going to reimburse you $200. So
Awesome.
if you pay whatever 40% off $200 is, help me with the math. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. You'll actually be making money on the deal. Wow, Cheryl, that is cool. And then the other thing, Cheryl, since I have you on the call, I wasn't sure when the Win with Sellers series started. So if you can give us the date on that, that would be great.
Yes, it's I just put it on the calendar yesterday. The first day it starts next Thursday, August 13th.
Great.
And it'll be 1 to 2 p.m. every Thursday for the entire series of Win with Sellers. There's instructors from around Hawaii region, including our own tech wizards teaching one of the classes. So it's Win with Sellers, the entire series starting next Thursday, August 13th, running through October 1st, weekly.
Awesome. So thank you. Can you also add that to my calendar, please? Just a side note there.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And then lastly, I don't know if you guys saw the email. Well, first of all, the Keller Williams Realty Maui was number 7 in the state last year in sales volume, which is super exciting. And that was really cool, especially because we did it with just our Maui offices, as I mentioned in the email, and all the other companies in front of us were more offices on other islands too. And of course, now we have Big Island, so that's great. That'll push us up. The other thing is we have the Fastest 50 event. So the company is also being honored in Pacific Business News 50 fastest growing companies in the state from last year. So this is based on the numbers actually from the last, I think it's the 2 years. And it was the prior 2 years. So I wanted to let you guys know you can register for that event. If you go to bizjournals.com, B-I-Z journals.com. Hang on, let me just put the link for registration in your chat box. And what's super cool is the tickets. First of all, it's via Zoom, so other people can attend. Last year when we went, we flew over to Oahu and it was limited and they sold out. And then they have all these tables and you have to pay, like an individual ticket was like $125 or $150. And so now you can attend for $25 if you want to see what the other companies are and everything. You can do that. You don't have to. I'm just inviting you because it's kind of cool and I'm going to be there. So that is that. And that's everything I had on my list today. What else do you guys have? Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to share or cover? No, you guys are all G. Okay, well, what is anybody, and tell me something fun you're gonna be doing this weekend, even if it's staying at home and watching a movie and hanging out with your cat, like maybe like somebody else. Nancy.
We're going sailing on Saturday, and it's our 50th wedding anniversary. Yeah, that's fun.
So exciting. Wow. So you're you're going to all 50 like states.
No,
You go
just
around the
just
US,
around Kaanapali.
Okay.
Just West Maui.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
hmm
Cool. Anything else? I know, Keone, you went to Hana last weekend.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was super awesome. Like
Where did
old,
you end up staying?
at the Bamboo Inn.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. John, I kind of knew him, I guess, before, but super awesome innkeeper. And it was like how Hana used to be, you know, everybody waves at each other as you're driving through, and everybody's all nice, and they had a lot of the restaurants were open. And so
Interesting. Cool.
yeah, it was super nice. I mean, there was like you could find parking at all the spots. It was reminiscent of the old days when I was growing up and going
Nice
out
to take a little
you know.
break.
There's like went out there Friday afternoon, and I think we passed like maybe 10 cars going out there. There's like no one. So anyway, if you go
Cool.
out there, just remember that give aloha, get aloha, right?
That's right. I love it. Awesome, you guys. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here this morning. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.